synthetic fuel. Will it save the internal combustion engine, or will it be too expensive for ordinary people? Or will we just have to concede to the EV transition and just let the automotive hobby die? Today, I'm gonna talk about all of that. Hey all, I'm Tom, the Racing Joker, and welcome to another episode of Car Topics Explained. Alright, so the two fuels I want to talk about today. The Highly Innovative Fuels Facility, or HIF, at Haru Oni. This is the methanol type fuel that is famously backed by Porsche. And the other is the renewable ethanol racing fuel Shell has developed using sugarcane waste and other food waste products. Let's start with Porsche's e-fuel, which is made with two key ingredients: hydrogen and carbon dioxide. To get hydrogen, you have to split H2O atoms using a process called electrolysis. In layman terms, a current is put through water and it splits the hydrogen and oxygen. For getting carbon dioxide, the process is different, but also just as interesting. To get a hold of CO2, a process called direct air capture, or carbon capture, is used to harvest the carbon dioxide straight from the air. Well, actually, it can be taken from various sources, but I'm most interested in the process of taking it out of the open air, the open atmosphere. Once you've got them, the two components are synthesized together to create a sort of methanol blend, which is then refined into a sort of petroleum product, which can be used in any internal combustion engine powered car. No flex fuel kits needed. Now, another important detail of their whole process is the location they chose for the facility. The Haru Oni project was placed in the southern region of Chile because it was the ideal place for generating wind energy. By using wind energy to produce this fuel, the production process doesn't put a ton more CO2 into the atmosphere, which would otherwise defeat the mission of this whole venture. The dream scenario being that instead of adding to the CO2 in the atmosphere, we are just ultimately recycling it, taking it out and putting it back in. I don't know why I had to explain that. I'm spoon-feeding spoons, as Rick Sanchez would say. All in all, it sounds pretty cool to me. I mean, we all learned about this in school. Reduce, reuse, recycle. If we reduce the amount of CO2 we are putting into the air, I'd say that's good. If we reuse our older combustion engine cars instead of buying newly built EVs, that's probably good. And if we recycle CO2 instead of producing more, I think that's obviously good. So this is all great, but is it too good to be true? Well, some think so. Back in 2023, it was estimated that the fuel would technically cost about $45 a gallon to make. Remember, that's to make, not to sell, which definitely would put it out of the financial range of most ordinary people. The hope is by 2026, the cost will be below $8 a gallon, which, people in California are already paying they're about the same amount anyways. And there are tons of sports cars out there. And since this is a car channel, I think I can safely assume that most of my audience is comprised of automotive enthusiasts. So I'm sure you are all, including myself, crossing our fingers that this will become commercially and publicly available to power our vehicles. Well, you needn't worry, because Porsche is thinking of you. Because one of the ways the fuel is being tested is by using it to power the cars of the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup Racing Series. Motorsport is the gauntlet that the fuel is being tested through. But if you aren't entirely convinced yet, then let me tell you about Michael Steiner, a member of Porsche's executive board responsible for research and development. He is most assuredly what we would consider to be an automotive enthusiast, because when he got behind the wheel of a stock Porsche 911 filled up with this new e-fuel, he put it to the test by doing a few laps around the facility's wind turbine and even drifting the car. Well, that all sounds really, really cool. I really hope all of their hard work, bears great fruit and that we can give that fuel a try in our own cars. But they're not the only ones. So now let's talk about Shell, who is, as a company, is working to develop a less environmentally impactful fuel in a different way, but is testing it in a very similar way. Shell's fuel is developed using food waste, primarily the waste products of sugarcane. This particular fuel, termed as second-generation ethanol is produced in Raízen, I hope I'm saying that right, a joint venture between Shell and Cosan, which I am also hoping I'm saying right. Here's a quote I pulled from a Forbes article. Raízen is one of the largest sugarcane ethanol producers in the world, and owner of the first commercial second-generation ethanol plant. And what's really cool is that this ethanol is being used as the official fuel for IndyCar, meaning that Shell is also using motorsport as a way to put their product through a series of very hard tests. Which again, as an enthusiast, fills me with hope. But hey, don't take it from me. Take it from Shell Global Solutions President Selda Gunsel. We have been working with motorsports technology for many years because we see this as an excellent innovation platform to try new technologies, to test our products beyond their performance specifications, test our products on their extreme operation conditions. We get to test our products under extreme conditions of speed, temperatures, loads, and we take the learnings and apply them to our product developments for the consumers and customers. That is our vision. I'm especially excited to see Shell working on something like this because, well, we've got a real strong familial connection with Shell as a family, me and my family. My dad worked with them for many, many years. We ended up traveling all over the world as a result, seeing all kinds of incredible things. So seeing them work on something like this, so I definitely want to see this succeed and, you know, this fuel get into the tanks of automotive enthusiasts. I think that'd be really cool because I'd love to give it a whirl in my M3 GTR. So hey, any executives at Shell, if you're watching, if you want to sponsor the BMW M3 GTR, that would be really cool. Especially since it's an ethanol. You know, we could just put a flex fuel kit on it and put it on a dyno and see what we can do with it. But anyways, tangent. So what makes this particular ethanol special, and what makes it fall under the term second generation? Well, it is made from waste biomass and waste products of feedstock, which takes it out of the food chain, I guess, because it hasn't been refined to be food grade for human consumption. There's definitely a lot more to it than that, but I think it simplifies the process. I'd honestly have to conduct my own interview with someone that knows more about this to really dissect it and understand it in a more, you know, easily digestible way. Because I think with normal ethanol, they're making the fuel out of food grade products, whereas I guess second generation means we're not bothering with that step. We're just using the waste and the non-refined products, which I guess makes a lot of sense. But take that part with a grain of salt because it was a little hard to understand what she was talking about. But before I move on, I'm sure you, as an automotive enthusiast, are curious about the future of how usable this fuel will be in our cars, both new combustion engine cars and older ones, classic ones. Well, here is another quote from Gunsel. Its specifications are similar to an E85 fuel, and its average octane rating is around 100, so it gives really great performance. We don't expect the racing fans to see any change in terms of performance, but with a much greater reduced carbon footprint. So that's cool. It would be basically another choice for an ethanol type fuel, E85 type fuel for us. But we could also say, hey, you know, it's a reduced carbon footprint while still getting probably really good performance results. Honestly, it's all kind of interesting considering no fossil-based ingredients are used in this particular E85 type fuel. So now I kind of got to bring it to you guys to see what you guys think. Which fuel are people going to be the most excited about once they become available to the public? The HIF e-fuel type petrol product or the Shell renewable ethanol? Either way, it's something for us automotive enthusiasts to hold out hope for and defeat the EV takeover and hold on to our great, wonderful sounding sports cars and race cars. If you want to take part in the discussion of what we could lose as enthusiasts if EVs really do replace all combustion engines, then check out this video where I lay down the brass tacks of how the hobby would just end if EVs take over.